Gus and Eddy go to the movies. A fanfiction written by Gus and Eddy Fanfic and read to you by yours truly, Thaddeus. Guster Johnston and Eddy Burback go on a lovely visit to the movies and go home and get it on, if you know what I'm saying. Chapter Uno. Gus Johnson went to see Back to the Future. The movie theatre was cold and dark. He sat in the front row next to a dude with glasses. "Hey," said the dude, "what's your name?" "Gus, what's yours?" "Oh, I'm Eddy." "Is that with one or two Ds?" Gus said, and they both laughed uproariously. Part dos. After Back to the Future, both Gus and Eddy had boners, 'cause the movie was so good. They looked at each other and laughed again. "Wow, that movie was so good." "Yeah? Want to go back to my place?" asked Eddy. "No, I in no way want to go back to your place, you horrible, disgusting, filthy piece of absolute shit. Fuck you, you degenerate toothpick-sized pink bobblehead, Duracell battery-powered fucking ape," stated Gus. "If you don't come over to my apartment, I will take a rose and stick it up your ass. The thorns will absolutely give you 20 hemorrhoids." "I already have a hernia, so it's okay," said Gus. Then Eddy, with lightning-fast reflexes, whipped out pepper spray and sprayed Gus right in his retinas. Gus screamed, falling onto the floor, hitting his head, and fainting. Eddy grabbed Gus by the legs and dragged him out of the movie theatre to his apartment. Episode 3. At home. Eddy ragged Gus to his house and walked around, laughing uproariously. "Now I can fuck Gustav up," snarled Eddy. Meanwhile, Gus had a dream. Gus's dream. Howard looked down carefully at his gold-plated watch. 9 p.m. He shivered as cold air blew down on his icy back. He knew the store was about to close. He shifted his position. He could hardly wait. But he knew he had to convince himself too. It was a really cramped place to be, in a refrigerator, but at least his Christmas wish would come true. It was Christmas Day, Christmas Eve actually. He heard the security guard's muffled cough. A cigarette smoker, he thought. Then he heard the lights click off and the security guard leave the building. He heaved a sigh of relief. The security guard didn't turn the power off. He jumped out of the refrigerator and turned on his flashlight. He looked around for the light switch. Then he heard the sound of the security guard coming back. "Oh no, I have to hide in the refrigerator again." In his haste, Howard accidentally ran into a Samsung Smart refrigerator. You know, the ones with the electronic display on the front with a button that you can press to see what's inside the refrigerator. "Oh no, the security guard heard me," he shivered. Then he realized his mistake. He winced as he heard the footsteps of the security guard getting closer. He heard them stop in front of his refrigerator. Then he heard the refrigerator screen be tapped on. Suddenly it was all dark. He heard a crack and the sound of thunder. Then he heard a loud crashing sound, accompanied by glass breaking and mashing together. He heard the security guard curse and run out the building. A few minutes later, he opened the refrigerator door. A large tree had fallen on the entrance of the Office Max store. Howard saw snowflakes float down from the broken roof and pierce his fair, icy skin. Those snowflakes reminded him of the day he lost everything. It was exactly a year ago, Christmas Day. His mum had surprised him with a gift that he had always wanted. He lived in a log cabin in Kentucky. No, he wasn't a pioneer. "You can unwrap your gift, but first you have to take the garbage out." "Okay, Mum," Howard happily obliged. He grabbed the heavy white garbage bag and lugged it outside. He was so excited to open his gift that he ran all the way to the garbage can. It was only 100 yards away, and his long legs made good time. He was only a few yards away when he slipped. His shattering blow on the ground released an avalanche of snow from the maple tree above him to fall on top of him. Then all he saw was black. 3 days later, he woke up staring into the eyes of a kind nurse. Next to the nurse was sat a middle-aged man with a Yankees hat and calloused hands. He stood up. "Hello," My name is David. I was in Kentucky a few days ago, driving home to Tennessee, when suddenly a blizzard appeared out of nowhere. I just happened to be driving my snowplow, and I saw a person buried under an avalanche of snow. I dug you out using my snowplow, and I brought you to the Tennessee hospital as fast as I could, but I'm sorry to say your house didn't make it. I saw your house collapse as I was driving away. I'm really sorry. Do you have any family I can contact so you can move in with them? Howard's mind was swirled. He sat up in the hospital bed and ran out the hospital as fast as he could. He ran down the neighborhood, and then he kept running, and running, and running, till he could run no more. He found himself in front of a 7-Eleven and an Office Max store. Next to those stores was an old abandoned house. He walked inside. It was a 1-story house, and there was a kitchen, a small room, another small room, and a bathroom. The kitchen was very worn down and very old. One of the rooms was a bedroom, which had a small cot in it. The other room was a small living room with a window, which looked out onto the street. The bathroom was very old-fashioned, but in whole it was a nice house. I will live here, he thought, and for the entirety of a year he did. He lived off 7-Eleven. Every week he'd steal some food and water from there. Surprisingly, no one found him staying in the house, probably since it was a very vacant street. Almost nobody visited the 7-Eleven, so the cashier was always on her phone. It had been almost a year. It was December 24th. Howard did not know what to make of his life. All he could do was try to survive. He was walking to 7-Eleven one day when an Office Max magazine blew into his face. He picked it up, and it was a coupon for the gift he had always wanted. He knew he had to get that Christmas gift, so he made a plan to sneak into the Office Max. The store was open on Christmas Eve, but Christmas Day it was closed. He hid in the refrigerator until he heard the security guard leave, and well, this is where he is now. He's here, and he's alone, and now he's able to get the gift he's always wanted. So, he went to the office department of the store until he found a row of the present he always wanted. Roller chairs. He slid the roller chairs across the store. It was the time of his life. Then he heard a familiar voice. He almost fell off his chair. His mum walked in. "Oh, honey, I'm so glad to see you." Howard hugged his mum. "I thought her house collapsed," Howard said. "No, it was the neighbor's house." Then Howard's mum's phone rang off, with the Genesis song Land of Confusion. "That's your father." Howard's mum answered the phone. She talked for a few minutes, then hung up. "That was your father saying he'll pick us up and drive us home, and you'll have the present you haven't opened." Howard smiled. This was the best Christmas ever. All thanks to roller chairs. Gus riveted up, covered in sweat. He looked around and saw that he was naked inside a dungeon. Eddy was standing naked next to him, holding a whip. Gus was tied up to a ceiling fan that was stapled to the floor. "My wife is sure gonna be mad about what I'm gonna do to you," Eddy rolled. "But you're not married," said Gus. Eddy held up his right hand with a ring on it. "But married people have their rings on their left hand," protested Gus. "What I actually did was cut off my left and right hand, then glue my right hand on my left arm, and my left hand on my right arm. So psych, so Gus, you little pussy. Do you think you can annihilate me? Do you seriously think you can stand up to my level? Who's holding the whip here? Who's wearing the fucking glasses?" "Eddy, you dipshit," Gus yelled. "Why would you tie me up to a fan? I wanna die." "Oh, Guster, my boy, you shall be killed. Don't worry," Eddy said, cocking his whip. To be continued. Right, okay, so I feel like I should apologize for what I just did. That was a complete waste of time. It's now 2 a.m. So people in my house have definitely heard me ranting about whatever this shit was. I'm actually quite upset that I did this. Don't know why I'm recording this little outro, but Christ, what a mess. Anyway, subscribe to Gus and Eddy, I suppose. I don't fucking know. I'm gonna drink water down the mic now, so have fun with that. And I'm worried I'm acting like someone forced me to do this, but no, I chose to, so there's that, I suppose. Christ, I'm gonna cut it here. Bye bye.